Hello, and welcome back to Bedtime Fables. The busy world has powered down for the night, and a deep, comfortable quiet is settling over the land. It's time to find your own cozy charging station, to let your gears slow down, and to get ready for a story about finding beauty in the most unexpected of places. Let your breathing grow soft and slow as our story begins. At the very edge of a bustling, noisy city, just beyond the last street lamp, there was a place the world had forgotten. It was a great, big junkyard, a quiet kingdom of things that had lost their purpose. There were mountains of old, tired washing machines, and hills of sleepy, worn-out tires. Old cars, their bright colors faded to a gentle rust, dreamed of the long, winding roads they used to travel. It was a silent place, a place of endings. But for one small, gentle resident, it was a place of quiet, daily routine. And soon, it would become a place of new beginnings. His name was Unit 734, but he liked to call himself Bolt. He was a small, old robot, built long ago to be a helper, a fixer of things. Now, in this quiet yard of broken objects, there was nothing left to fix. So, Bolt had given himself a new job. He was a collector. Every night, when the moon was high and the world was asleep, he would make his slow, quiet rounds through the yard. His little metal feet would make a soft clink-clank on the hard-packed earth, the only sound in the silent city of rust. He would search for the most interesting, forgotten things. A gear with a missing tooth, a spring that had lost its bounce, a particularly beautiful, rust-colored bolt. Bolt's home was a safe and cozy space inside the cab of a great, old, forgotten truck. He had a little nest of old, soft rags for a bed, and his collections were arranged on the dashboard like precious treasures. He loved his quiet, orderly life. The world outside the junkyard was too fast, too loud, and too bright for a small, slow robot like him. Here, in his silent kingdom, he was content. He had his routine, his collections, and the quiet, predictable company of the moon and the stars. He thought this was all his life would ever be, a long, peaceful, an unchanging story of metal and rust. But one night, as he was carefully examining a promising-looking pile of old screws, his gentle, glowing eyes fell upon something new. It was a tiny object, no bigger than the smallest screw in his collection, but it was different. It wasn't made of metal. It wasn't rusty, or cold, or hard. It was small, and dark, and smooth, and it felt different. He gently picked it up in his careful, metallic fingers. He had a great, built-in library of all the nuts and bolts and gears in the world. But his internal scanner had no information about this strange, new thing. He did not know what it was, but he could feel a tiny, sleepy, and very patient life force humming deep inside it. This was a new kind of treasure, a treasure unlike any he had ever found before. It was not a piece of a machine that had finished its work. It was something else entirely. It felt like a promise. It felt like a beginning, a deep, forgotten instinct. From his long-ago programming, a directive to nurture and protect began to whir softly in his robotic mind. He knew, with a certainty that hummed through all his circuits, that this little, unknown object was now the most important thing in his entire world. He had to take care of it. He had to find out what its purpose was. He carefully carried the little seed back to his home in the old truck. He knew it needed a bed, a place to be safe. He looked over his vast collection of metal treasures, and he found the perfect thing. It was a large, old, hollow bolt, its inside worn smooth over the years. It would make a perfect, sturdy little pot. He scurried outside and, for the first time, he ignored the metal scraps. He searched for the softest, richest, and darkest soil he could find, a patch of earth that had been hiding under a damp old piece of wood. He carefully carried the soil back, pinch by tiny metallic pinch, and filled the hollow bolt. With his little pot now ready, he took the precious, dark seed. With one careful, metallic finger, he poked a small, perfect hole in the center of the soft soil. Then, with a touch as delicate as a falling feather, he placed the little seed into its new bed. He gently pushed the soil over it, tucking it in like a child into a cozy bed. He did not know if this was the right thing to do, but it felt right. It felt like he was not just burying a seed. He was planting a secret, a promise, a tiny, sleeping hope. He remembered from his ancient, stored memory banks of the world outside that growing things needed water. He searched the junkyard until he found an old, silver thimble which had fallen from a forgotten sewing kit long ago. It made a perfect, tiny watering can. He found a puddle of clean, clear rainwater, and he filled the thimble. He carried it back, his steps extra careful not to spill a single, precious drop, and he gently, lovingly, watered the soil where the little seed was sleeping. He had done everything he could think of. Now, all he could do was wait. And so, he began his watch. Every night, he would make his rounds, collecting his usual nuts and gears, but his mind was always on the little seed. He would return to his truck cab, and he would sit for hours, his golden eyes a soft, warm, and steady light, watching over the little bolt pot, as if it were the most important treasure in the world, which, to him, it now was. He did not know what to expect. He did not know if anything would happen at all. But he was a very patient robot, and he was ready to wait for as long as it took to see what beautiful secret story was sleeping inside his tiny, dark, and very special seed. For many long, quiet nights, nothing happened. Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt, kept his vigil, his patience as steady and as unwavering as the North Star. He watered the little seed with his thimble can and made sure it was always in the best spot on the dashboard to catch the gentle light of the moon. And then, one night, his long, quiet watch was rewarded. As he sat there, his internal senses focused on the little pot, he saw it. A tiny, miraculous crack appeared in the surface of the soil. And from that crack, a single, tiny, and perfect green sprout, no bigger than an eyelash, was pushing its way up into the world. It was the most beautiful thing Bolt had ever seen, a tiny, living piece of magic in his world of rust and decay. But this was no ordinary sprout. As it unfurled its first two tiny leaves, a soft, gentle light began to pulse from within it. It was not the warm, golden light of Bolt's own eyes, or the silvery white light of the moon. It was a cool, peaceful, blue-white light, a color that reminded Bolt of the distant, twinkling stars he could see through the truck's dusty windshield. The little plant was a living lantern, a tiny beacon of a different kind of life than he had ever known. He watched, mesmerized, as its gentle, otherworldly glow filled the little truck cab with a soft, peaceful, and magical light. He knew, with a surge of joy in his Bolt's life now had a new, wonderful purpose. His old routine of just collecting forgotten metal was now secondary. His most important job was to be a gardener. Every night, he would check the soil in the little Bolt pot to make sure it was perfectly damp, but not too wet. He would gently turn the pot just a little bit each night, so that the little sprout could see the moon from all its different angles. He would even use the softest corner of his own sleeping rag to gently dust its tiny green leaves, making sure they were always clean and able to breathe in the cool night air. He was the most careful, the most dedicated, and the most loving gardener in the whole wide world. Under Bolt's constant, loving care, the little plant grew. Its stem grew taller and stronger and more beautiful. Green leaves unfurled. And then, one night, a new and exciting change occurred. At the very top of the sturdy little stem, a single, perfect bud had formed. It was closed up tight, a secret, pearly white promise of the flower it was to become. The soft, blue-white light seemed to be concentrated inside this little bud, and it pulsed with a gentle, sleepy rhythm, like a tiny, dreaming heart. Bolt could hardly contain his excitement. He would sit for hours just watching it, wondering what beautiful, magical secret was sleeping inside. And then, one night, under the gentle, watchful gaze of the full moon, it happened. Slowly, gracefully, the petals of the little bud began to unfurl. They opened to reveal the most magnificent and beautiful flower Bolt had ever imagined. It was a moon poppy, a flower from a world of dreams, with great, silken, silvery white petals that seemed to be woven from moonlight itself. And as it opened fully, the light from its heart spilled out. A brilliant, breathtaking, and yet still gentle, blue-white glow. The light filled the entire truck cab, transforming the dusty, rusty space into a magical, celestial palace. It poured out of the windows and into the junkyard, painting the sleeping mountains of metal with a soft, ethereal, and beautiful light. The junkyard, which had always been a place of silver moonlight and dark black shadows, was now a whole new world. The light from Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt's flower, was different from the moon's light. It was softer, closer, and it seemed to be alive. It made the familiar shapes of his home look new and magical. A pile of old rusty pipes now looked like a great, sleeping, silver dragon. A stack of old tires looked like a dark, mysterious tower. From a forgotten castle, the little flower had not just bloomed, it had repainted the entire world with a new and beautiful kind of light, a light of magic and of hope. And Bolt was no longer the only one to appreciate his flower. The beautiful, glowing blossom sent out a silent call to all the other quiet creatures of the night. The great, dusty night moths, with their wings like maps of the moon, were drawn to the gentle light. They fluttered in through the open window of the truck and began to dance in the soft, blue-white glow, their own beautiful, patterned wings creating a silent, swirling ballet in the air. They were the flower's first happy audience, its first grateful friends. Soon, other visitors came. A little field mouse, brave and curious, crept to the edge of the truck's open door and peeked inside. Its little black eyes wide with wonder at the sight of the glowing flower. A family of crickets, who had always found the junkyard too quiet, now gathered outside the truck and began to sing their cheerful, chirping song, a happy symphony for the beautiful, magical light. Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt. His body made of mismatched, weathered, and slightly rusty metal parts, watched them all. And his circuits hummed with a new and wonderful feeling. His little flower was not just his treasure. It was a gift to the entire, quiet, nighttime world of his home. Bolt sat for the rest of the night, not as a collector, but as a guardian. He was the keeper of the most beautiful light in the whole junkyard. He had found a purpose far greater than just sorting nuts and bolts. He had found a tiny, lost seed, and he had given it a home, and in return, it had filled his quiet, rusty, forgotten world with life, and with music, and with a breathtaking, magical beauty. He had never felt so happy, and he had never felt so complete. As the first hint of dawn approached, and the beautiful moon poppy began to slowly close its petals for its daytime sleep, 3 new, tiny, dark seeds dropped from its center and landed softly in Bolt's waiting, open palm. He looked at the 3 new promises, and then he looked out at the great, wide, and rusty junkyard, and in his quiet, robotic heart, a new and wonderful dream began to bloom. One flower had changed his world. He could only imagine what a whole garden might do. As the real sun began its slow climb into the sky, its warm, golden light spilling over the edge of the world, the magical light of the moon poppy began to fade. The beautiful, silvery white petals slowly, gracefully folded back in on themselves, tucking the flower's secret light away for a long day's rest. The dancing moths fluttered away to find their own sleepy, daytime hiding spots, and the crickets sang their final, sleepy notes. The magical, blue-lit, enchanted garden returned to being a quiet, forgotten junkyard. But Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt, knew with a happy, humming certainty in his circuits that the magic was not gone. It was just sleeping. That day, Bolt did not go to his usual resting place. His new dream, the dream of a whole garden, was too exciting for him to power down. He had 3 new seeds, and he knew they would each need a special home. His collecting had a new purpose. Now, he was no longer searching for interesting shapes. He was searching for potential. He found an old, rusty watering can with a hole in the bottom, which would be perfect for drainage. He found a beautiful, cracked teacup with a single, painted rose still visible on its side. And he found an old glass car headlamp, which would catch the moonlight in a beautiful, sparkling way. He was not just collecting junk. He was gathering cradles for his new, sleepy starseeds. Next, he needed more soil. He remembered seeing a small patch of stubborn, green grass growing near the old fence, a place where the earth was still soft and full of life. He went there and, with his careful, metal fingers, he gently gathered the dark, rich, and loamy soil, being careful not to disturb the roots of the brave little patch of grass. The soil smelled wonderful, a deep, earthy smell of life and of rain and of 100 sleeping seasons. It was the perfect, nurturing bed for his 3 new seeds, a promise of the life and beauty they held within them. He carried the soil back to his truck cab and carefully filled each of his new, makeshift pots. He filled the watering can and the teacup and the shiny glass headlamp. Then, with a reverence he usually reserved for only the most perfect gears, he took out the 3 new seeds. One by one, with the tip of his steadiest finger, he planted them. He tucked each one into its own new, special bed of soft, dark earth. He was not just planting 3 little seeds. He was planting a future. He was planting a garden. He was planting a beautiful, glowing, and magical hope in the very heart of the Forgotten Junkyard. As the sun set and the moon began to rise, the magic returned to the junkyard. The beautiful, silvery white moon poppy, the flower, began to unfurl its petals once more, filling the truck cab with its gentle, familiar, and otherworldly glow. Bolt sat in his usual spot on the driver's seat, but tonight he was not just watching one pot. He was watching 4. His heart, a little clockwork engine in his chest, word with a quiet and happy anticipation. His family was growing. His garden was beginning. And now, it is time for you to find your own secret garden of sleep. It is a place in your mind that is quiet and peaceful and safe. It is a place where you can plant your own happy thoughts and watch them grow into the most beautiful and wonderful dreams. The gate is open and the path is soft. It is time to leave the busy, noisy world behind and step into your own peaceful, sleepy sanctuary. Imagine a kind and gentle gardener is taking care of you as you get ready for sleep. Feel a soft, warm blanket being tucked all around you, just as Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt, tucked his little seeds into the soft, dark earth. Feel a sense of deep, profound safety, the wonderful feeling of being watched over and cared for. You are in a safe, warm, and loving place, and you can let your whole body relax completely. Listen to the quiet, peaceful rhythm of your own breathing. Let it be as slow and as steady as a tiny, hopeful sprout pushing its way up through the earth. A long, soft breath in, drawing in peace and quiet, and a long, sleepy breath out, letting go of all the day's worries. This gentle, natural rhythm is the oldest lullaby in the world, and it is guiding your body and your mind into a deep, nurturing, and wonderful sleep. The world is growing so very quiet now. In the little junkyard, a secret magical light is shining, a beacon of hope and beauty in a forgotten place. The whole world is at peace, and it is a peace filled with a quiet sense of wonder. Let that same peaceful, quiet wonder fill your own cozy room now. Let your mind become still, and let yourself feel the gentle magic of the night. You are so very sleepy now. Your mind is quiet. Your body is still. You are ready to let go and float away into the beautiful, peaceful, and magical garden of your own dreams. It is a wonderful place, made just for you, where you can plant your own happy thoughts and watch them grow into the most beautiful flowers. You are almost there. Just let yourself drift now. Night after night, Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt. His body, made of mismatched, weathered, and slightly rusty metal parts, continued his patient and loving work. He watered his 3 new seeds with his little thimble can, and he made sure they were bathed in the beautiful blue-white light of their mother flower. And slowly, miraculously, they began to grow. 3 more tiny, glowing green sprouts pushed their way up through the dark soil, their little leaves unfurling to greet the strange and beautiful world of the junkyard. Bolt's heart motor whirred with a deep and quiet joy. His little family was growing. His dream of a garden was coming true. The weeks passed in a peaceful, happy rhythm of watering and waiting and watching. And then, one beautiful, moonless night, it happened. All 3 of the new flowers opened their petals at the very same time. The little truck cab was filled with a light so brilliant and so beautiful that it was brighter than the fullest moon. 4 magnificent moon poppies now stood together, their silvery white petals unfurled, their hearts all glowing with a silent, harmonious, and breathtakingly beautiful blue-white light. The little junkyard was no longer a forgotten place. It was the home of a magical and secret constellation, a garden of earthly stars. The light from the 4 flowers was so powerful that it poured out and transformed the entire junkyard. It was no longer a place of sad, grey metal and dark, empty shadows. The gentle, blue-white light painted everything with a soft, magical brush. A mountain of old, rusty barrels now looked like a beautiful, glowing canyon of deep, warm orange. A tangled pile of old wires looked like a shimmering, silver river. Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt. His body made of mismatched, weathered, and slightly rusty metal parts stood in the middle of his home and looked out at the world he had helped to create. It was beautiful. It was a beauty. Born from forgotten things, a magic made from patience and a little bit of kindness. Bolt's collecting now had a new and wonderful purpose. He no longer gathered nuts and bolts just to arrange them on his dashboard. He was now a landscape artist. He would find the most beautifully shaped pieces of rust, the most interesting gears, and the most elegantly curved pieces of old metal. And he would use them to build beautiful, intricate borders around his growing garden of moon poppies. He was using the old, forgotten things to protect and to celebrate the new, living things. He was blending his two loves, his two worlds, into a single, beautiful work of art. And as the seasons turned, the beautiful moon poppies began to create new seeds of their own. A gentle night wind would find its way into the forgotten yard, and it would whisper through the open window of the old truck. It would pick up the tiny, dark, and promise-filled seeds and carry them away on its invisible currents. The seeds would drift and float, landing in all the forgotten corners of the junkyard. One landed in a tired old boot. Another landed in a dented, forgotten hubcap, and another landed in the cracked, dusty seat of an old, forgotten tricycle. And Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt. His body made of mismatched, weathered, and slightly rusty metal parts, a copper pot belly, nut and bolt joints, and a head from an old lantern with two large, glass lens eyes that glow with a soft, warm, and very kind, golden yellow light. The little robot, who had once been just a lonely collector of forgotten metal, was now the happy and proud gardener of the most beautiful and magical place in the entire world. His quiet, gentle work had transformed the saddest, most forgotten place into a place of wonder, a place of light, and a place of incredible, resilient beauty. And he knew, in his happy, worry, clockwork heart, that he had finally, truly, found his purpose. And now, it is time for you to find your own secret garden of sleep. It is a place in your mind that is quiet and peaceful and safe. It is a place where you can plant your own happy thoughts and watch them grow into the most beautiful and wonderful dreams. The gate is open and the path is soft. It is time to leave the busy, noisy world behind and step into your own peaceful, sleepy sanctuary, a place made just for you. Imagine a kind and gentle gardener is taking care of you as you get ready for sleep. Feel a soft, warm blanket being tucked all around you, just as Bolt, a small, old, and gentle-looking robot named Bolt, tucked his little seeds into the soft, dark earth. Feel a sense of deep, profound safety, the wonderful feeling of being watched over and cared for. You are in a safe, warm, and loving place, and you can let your whole body relax completely, from your head to your toes. Listen to the quiet, peaceful rhythm of your own breathing. Let it be as slow and as steady as a tiny, hopeful sprout pushing its way up through the earth. A long, soft breath in, drawing in peace and quiet, and a long, sleepy breath out, letting go of all the day's worries. This gentle, natural rhythm is the oldest lullaby in the world, and it is guiding your body and your mind into a deep, nurturing, and wonderful sleep. The world is growing so very quiet now. In the little junkyard, a secret, magical light is shining, a beacon of hope and beauty in a forgotten place. The whole world is at peace, and it is a peace filled with a quiet sense of wonder. Let that Same peaceful, quiet wonder fill your own cozy room now. Let your mind become still, and let yourself feel the gentle magic of the night as you drift closer and closer to your own wonderful dreams. Thank you for visiting the garden with us at Bedtime Fables. There is always a new, magical story waiting to be planted. If you would like to be here to watch it grow, you can ask your grown-up to tap the subscribe button so we can all meet again for our next sleepy adventure. Until then, may your own dreams be full of beautiful, growing things. Good night.